Who's going to be the next head coach at Michigan? Who could it be? And what else is happening in the Big Ten? I don't know, everything. Guys are portaling out, and we're exploring it all. On today's a Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, your host, neutral arbiter of all things college football. Isaiah Hull of Locked On Michigan is here. Trent Condon of Locked On Iowa as well, with Roman Tomashoff of Locked On Huskies and Jacob Goins of Locked On #1 Indiana Hoosiers. I still can't believe that's the real world.
You can say it again if you want to.
No, I'm good. Once was too many already, and I'd rather talk about something else that doesn't make Jacob happy. So, or maybe it does. I don't know. Isaiah, you're gonna go first in this one. Give us the latest from Ann Arbor as Michigan continues to hunt for a football coach. Who do you think it's going to be?
Well, I think it's come down to two candidates mostly. I think they obviously have others that are potential candidates, but they're really. I spoke to someone close to the situation, close to the hiring process over the weekend, and their belief is that this is going to be a situation where they get more clarity over the weekend, and that kind of told me everything I really kind of needed to know. Despite a couple denials from Kalen DeBoer, there seems to be a lot of confidence that Michigan is in a good shape with him, and if not, my preferred candidate in this one, Kenny Dillingham, is still saying the types of things that you would expect if you were exploring the avenue of taking another job. And so right now, I think it's really just those two guys. I haven't really heard of any other candidates that are really viable right now for Michigan. Now, is there a chance that both turn down Michigan? Obviously, yes, there's a chance, but they feel good about what they've unearthed so far with the search committee and some of the backdoor communications. And right now, I think it's between those guys. I can't really tell you which one it's going to be at this point, though, between those two.
Trent, make your prediction on who you think the next Michigan head coach will be. And if you were a Michigan admin, who would you be lobbying for?
I really think that there's a real possibility it's going to be Kalen DeBoer. And I know that they're saying all the right things down in Alabama this week. It wouldn't be just so juicy for us having to deal with those wonks down in the SEC to have a Big Ten program taken away from Alabama. I think he would be as close to a home run hire as you can find. You never want to follow the legend. And obviously that's the case that he's doing right now with Nick Saban. I think that would change certainly the temperature and a lot of our thought processes of Michigan going forward here for, say, the next half decade.
Yeah, I mean, 2 national championships in a row, and if the Alabama head coach then decides I'd rather go to the Big Ten conference, Roman, that'd be quite the flex for us in Big Ten country.
Yeah, he spurned the Big Ten once and then was like, "Oh wait, no, I made a mistake by going to the SEC." So that would certainly be my bet at this point in time, just with how Kalen treated departing at Washington, how that whole situation unfolded. It does sound very similar to how things seem to be going right now, and it's something we talked about last week when we had our phenomenal live show, where there's just too much smoke to ignore on that front, in my opinion.
Does Washington play Michigan next year?
No.
Oh, gosh.
We have to wait like 2 more years for that. I'm really mad about that too. Trust me.
Oh, man. That is the bummer of a life. If I were scheduling czar in college football, I would have a couple of rules. One of them would absolutely be if a coach leaves a Power 4 institution for a different Power 4 school, that team automatically goes on their schedule the next year. Can you imagine, Roman, if Alabama's first game with Kalen DeBoer as a head coach was against Washington head coach Jed Fish in his first year? I'd put that game in Seattle, by the way.
No, I couldn't with how that roster looked coming into last year. I understand your sentiment, and I absolutely agree with that. But now I'm just kind of thinking of what Washington's offensive line looked like last season, and I don't want to picture that anymore. So I know that's why you did that too.
But see, the hype going into that game would just be so outstanding.
I agree.
it would be awesome. Look, we have Craig Sheeman of Locked on Big Ten, but you
Look
showed
at
up
that
last
flag,
week, means you go
baby.
last.
Look at that thing flying it high. I love it.
Look
Craig.
at this guy. Look,
That is
first
not a
of-
neutral arbiter over there.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Trent, is Craig, here you are, Locked on Big Ten, supposed to represent the conference. See how I'm representing all of college football over here?
Nailed it.
Yeah. Well, being an Indiana grad, 13-0, number one, a Heisman. I mean, we're checking a lot of boxes this year, people. So the neutral arbiter part has to go by the wayside. And then I saw the text earlier today that Goins was a 50-50 for today, but I'm glad he's here. But I had to represent. So
I'm not.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Craig. Thank you.
Anyway, yeah, Goins, I'm legally required by our bosses at Locked On to let you speak, so go ahead.
Yeah, I missed that in the contract, but I do appreciate it. I can tell you who it's not going to be, and that's Kurt Signetti, which makes us very excited. But when you start looking at all the betting odds and you look at it, talking with insiders and things like that, it's the two names that everybody has talked about, Kalen DeBoer and Kenny Dillingham. Then the drop-off is significant, right? So what happens just playing a fun game here? What happens if neither one of those happen? Then what do you do? If Michigan strikes out on them for whatever reason, they say no, Michigan says, or whatever the case may be, then where do you go? I think Dillingham is the hire in terms of resetting a culture and bringing a fire back to Michigan. I think Dillingham would be awesome. But to Trent's point about DeBoer, you have this opportunity for him to kind of leave Tuscaloosa and not have to worry about it. You're not hated. You're not loved. You just are honestly forgotten about down there, and they can go find someone else too. My concern is if Michigan doesn't get those two names, I have no idea where they go after that.
Isaiah, do you have any idea in the event that they strike out on both of those guys? Like, are we talking about full-time Michigan head coach Biff Poggi here?
I think so. There's someone that just became available last week. Really familiar with Michigan, has spent time there. Did have a little bit of a rough departure, but Sharon Moore right there for the hiring. Right? Knows what it takes to be the Michigan head coach. But I mean, at this point, I mean, like, yeah, there's a couple of other names that are on the list, like, Eli Drinkwitz and Whittingham, formerly of Utah. Clark Lee would be someone they would try to kick the tires on, but I just don't think they're going to get that far. I all indications from everything I've heard is they're going to get one of those two almost certainly. And I've gotten some phone calls today that have further indicated that, not even on the Michigan side, more so closer to some of the other, the candidates out there. So I just don't think that it's even going to get down to that point.
Interim head coach Kyle Whittingham is an interesting idea. I'm just throwing it out there. Frank Reich just did it at Stanford. It went just fine. Craig, if you were Michigan, who would you hire? Kalen DeBoer or Kenny Dillingham?
Either would be stellar. And I'm a little surprised. I guess when you guys say that, your sources say that maybe I thought those guys were out. I guess they're still talking. Maybe Dillingham's talking. Roman, is Jed Fish out of the picture completely?
That's kind of the sentiment that I've gotten. Everything that I've heard throughout this entire process was that he was kind of on the back burner of all this, and there were a whole lot of pieces just like connecting him to everything that was going on, which all made sense because of his time there and everything like that. But I never got the sense that he was one of the top tier candidates.
Isaiah, is there a chance of Biff? Did they give it to him for a year as an interim?
I think it's highly, highly unlikely.
Okay.
As awesome
That's
as Biff
disappointing.
It would be
that's
so
my
cool.
guy.
It would be so great. Not as great as the shocking move when Kirk Ferentz leaves Iowa to go be the head coach at Michigan.
It almost happened 20 years ago.
Did it really?
Really?
You said Kirk Ferentz. I think you meant Brian Ferentz.
Yeah, you could have it.
Knows how to really.
Brian
knows how to run the
Ferentz
football.
will bring the high octane nothing to Ann Arbor like few can. I mean,
Well, wait a minute
oof.
now. Wait a minute. He's a perfect candidate because he likes to run the ball.
That's true.
Poorly.
That's true. He does have I'd say a love-hate relationship, but I think it's just a hate relationship with the forward pass. So that could fit very well with Michigan's play style in some respect. When we get back, we're going to debate whether Fernando Mendoza actually should have won the Heisman Trophy just to annoy Goins. That's really all that I'm here to do on today's Locked On Big Ten Squad. First, this episode brought to you by our friends at Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month. It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances, because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. You'll like how Rocket Money automatically builds budgets based on past spending. It keeps you on track without overthinking it. The bill alerts and spending notifications help you catch small things before they turn into big expenses. So if you want to get yourself on track and reach a financial goal you've had in mind for a while, Rocket Money is the way to go. Take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. rocketmoney.com/locked on. All right, continuing on with the Locked On Big Ten squad. Goins, we live in a world where Indiana is ranked highly and has a good record, and also has the Heisman Trophy winner. And that came with some disagreement from the second place finisher, Diego Pavia. The floor is yours. I'm curious your thoughts on the whole situation, because from a statistical standpoint, Mendoza is not the most outstanding Heisman winner that we've ever had. He's just the clutchest quarterback in the country.
Clutchest quarterback in the country. He's also the best player on the best team, which I think is all you have to say in this situation. The Diego Pavia stuff, I mean, was anybody surprised to see him out partying in New York as a loser and then have comments to say about the voters? And then, don't worry, though, he apologized. He felt real bad about it the next day.
The very clearly AI apology?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever AI you want to plug there, he used. I mean, nobody's surprised that he acted that way, and I'm glad that he didn't win it, because what a horrible representation of the Heisman Trophy he would have been. Great player, fantastic player, but clearly was not ready for that. And I think Mendoza, yeah, he's clutch. He does what he needs to do, and he wins games. Are his stats the best we've ever seen? No, but a near 3,000-yard passer, 33 touchdowns, and several Heisman moments that you can go back and remember throughout the season. That's what sticks out to me. And I was more surprised that Julian Sayin was just like not even existed in this whole process more than anything else. Like, I mean, did everybody see the picture of the media covering all the other guys, and they're saying with one reporter, like, hey, how's it going? You know what I mean? Like just talking to this guy, and then the votes were horrific. That was more surprising to me than Fernando Mendoza running away with the Heisman.
I think what that came down to was Mendoza and Pavia had such incredible stories because they're leading Indiana and Vanderbilt to a combined 23 wins this year. Like, that's insane. And then Jeremiah Love is the only running back that is there. Mm-hmm. And then Julian Sainz just at Ohio State, maybe he might be the best quarterback of the bunch when it's all said and done. I'm bullish on Julian Sainz. Craig, I want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, let's face it. Julian Sainz will be back in New York, right? Just a redshirt freshman. If he keeps throwing 80% completion rates, he'll be back. He'll get another chance. I was surprised at the low first place vote total for him. I thought he would be giving Mendoza a run for his money. Thank goodness Pavia didn't win. He's not worthy of it personality-wise. So,
I don't know, man. Johnny Manziel won the Heisman Trophy.
And that demonstrates it itself.
We go back to the 70s, too, and a guy named OJ also won the award.
Yeah.
Well. Who? Who? Also, when you look at all those guys, I'm old enough to remember, we always – the guys that are on TV, the national TV, it's still a beauty contest, right? The 13-0 and the number one rated team and all that kind of stuff all worked in the favor of Mendoza. I can think of 4 Heisman moments for Mendoza. I can't think of any that jump off the page for any of the other ones. I mean, the Penn State game, the Iowa game, the throw to Surratt in the Ohio State Big Ten championship game, the comeback, the big drive against Oregon after the game was tied. So Mendoza had plenty of national exposure with Heisman moments. I can't really think of one play for each of the other 3 candidates that really stuck up. Well, I take that back. Jeremiah Love, the sit and spin, was his Heisman moment for Notre Dame. That I regret and not mentioning that earlier. But he had a Heisman moment too, I should say.
Isaiah, if you had a Heisman vote, who would you have cast it for?
I would have casted it for my dog because she's one of the best players. Actually, I just don't really like. like at this point, there just really wasn't like that clear person. I was totally fine with Mendoza getting it, and I've been on the Indiana train all year, to be honest. But like, really, you're really not going to look at anything other than offensive players, generally quarterbacks. So at this point, like, I feel like there had to be someone that was just a little bit more dominant. I would have maybe looked a little bit more at like Ahmad Hardy or someone like that as well. But I'm great with Mendoza winning it. I probably would have ended up voting for him if I had the vote. But at the same time, like, they're just it's a quarterback award, the quarterback on the best team award, and he was that. So to me, that's like, okay, that's cool. But I'm sure that there was like some kind of defensive game record. I can't think of one off the top of my head somewhere in college football that was deserving of being there at the very least.
I got one. Jacob Rodriguez at Texas Tech.
Yeah. That's my
who
biggest.
got my vote.
Yeah, my biggest problem with this whole thing is Jacob Rodriguez, and you look at it, he got more first place votes than Sayan did, and they don't invite him. And this Heisman, it's become the fun award that it once was, where it wasn't just about being on a team that is a contender for a national champion. It felt like a little bit more thought process behind it. It's morphed into what the NFL MVP has turned into, best quarterback on a good team. And that's the part that is disappointing. Heisman used to be fun, and maybe it was just this year. This is not a knock on Mendoza by any means. Pavia is a character, but he's doing it at Vanderbilt, and they lost a couple of games this year. I just don't like what the Heisman Trophy's turned into, because I'm with you guys. Rodriguez should have been there.
Can we talk also, and Roman, then I want to get your thoughts on this, about how the Heisman Trophy as a television product, like the ceremony, is just terrible.
Cringe.
It's so bad.
It's so long.
It can be done in 15 minutes. They just can't make money that way.
It's so long. It's so unnecessarily dragged out. It's like they're just I understand telling the story of each guy, but each one should have like a 2 to 3 minute highlight package. They worked like 4 commercial breaks into this thing, and they're like, we're going to have the Heisman Trophy announcement when we get back. I'm like, at this point, I think you're telling us tomorrow.
Well,
how about let's go into the back room, because the front room's not good enough. Now we got to slide into the back room with Tito.
Did you also notice how they had like every ESPN personality that they could squeeze into one place there? It's like, we're going to have Chris Fowler and Reese Davis and Marty Smith and Holly Rowe, and like there were like 4 others. I'm like, holy crap.
Well, in most years too, right? With betting as big as it is now, most of the time we know who the Heisman winner is before we even get to the ceremony. So I think that takes a lot away from the television production and the event that it used to be too. Not every year, but most of the time. Yeah.
Roman, are we just literally or metaphorically old men yelling at the sky here?
No, I don't think so. I remember, like, because a couple of years ago, it was kind of the same thing. When I'm sitting here, like, hey, is it going to be Michael Penix or is Jaden Daniels stat padding going to win him the day? It was the same exact thing that I was sitting there like, all right. And I will say, I figured one thing out where they go in reverse order of the votes. Where if you listen to like in the order that they wind up like talking about each guy, it's that guy finished in 4th, that guy finished in 3rd, or that's what it was.
Did they really?
Penix here at the very. That's what it was. The Penix here. Yeah, it was like, we're going to talk about like Marvin Harrison who finished in 5th.
Is that just coincidence or was that legit?
I think it was legit. That's just that's my low stakes conspiracy theory here.
It's investigative reporting right there. I like that.
Hey, but it's one of those things where we absolutely could have done this in 15. Like even if you want to do 30 minutes, sure, whatever. Yeah. But it was way too long. It was way too dragged out. Like the fact that we didn't know was fun. I appreciated that aspect of it, but I was also sitting there like, hey, Washington's bowl game is about to start. And we need to get some eyes on the bucked up LA Bowl.
Yeah, Big Ten 1-0 in bowl season, baby. Woo! We're cooking, absolutely cooking with gas. Yeah, I brought that up on my show earlier this week, Roman. That the inconsistency is what bugs me. If we're going best statistical season, well, Pavia had a better statistical season than Fernando Mendoza. That is inarguable. If it's best player on a team that's in the playoff, well, then why did Penix get it or not get it instead of Jaden Daniels, who had a better statistical season? Like, there's just no consistency, and I agree it's lost a little. Like, it's still great. And, I mean, the fact, Goins, I'll let you wrap us up on this. The fact that Indiana now has a Heisman Trophy winner is certifiably insane. Can you imagine when when Kurt Signetti was hired, if any of us had popped onto our respective shows and said, oh, by the way, Kurt Signetti is going to beat Ohio State within 2 years, win a Big Ten title, and have a Heisman Trophy winner at Indiana, the ridicule would have been insane.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about where we are in college football. We're obviously biased in Bloomington, but with a transfer quarterback from California, like it just, whose brother's on the team, who recruited him there and said, hey, come take the starting job here because I think you can be good. It's a cool story. Fernando's speech was good. He talked about, wanting to have the trophy in Bloomington. The story itself is fantastic. And I'm happy for him. It's a huge recruiting tool now for Indiana, and hopefully the Hoosiers cap it off with a national title.
We'll see about all of that. Some transfer portal buzz. Guys are in the portal all over the place. Who's everybody going to grab? We'll talk about that when we get back on the Locked On Big Ten Squad. First, this episode brought to you by our friends over at Wayfair. The holidays always show up faster than we expect. And if you're still putting together gifts, last-minute decor, or getting your home ready for guests, Wayfair has you covered. Whether you need a quick room refresh, new bedding, or those final seasonal touches, Wayfair makes it easy to get what you need fast. Wayfair is truly your one-stop shop for everything home with decor, furniture, kitchen essentials, and gifts for every style and every budget delivered quickly and easily. So sometimes a restaurant has a set menu, and maybe at some spots it's a little bit smaller than you think it should be. Well, that is not the spirit in which Wayfair operates. They've got a huge selection, buffet style, everything that you could possibly want to have the perfect hosting party, to make everything feel a little bit homier, a little bit cozier, a little bit more holiday spirit. Wayfair's got you covered. Get last-minute hosting essentials, gifts for all your loved ones, and decor to celebrate the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com, wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, wrapping up this Locked On Big Ten Squad with some portal chatter. And Isaiah, I again want to start with you because as we record this show, no news on the Bryce Underwood front. Do you have any inclination that could change?
No, not really, right? Because a lot of people want to point out and say, oh, he was committed to LSU and money. Yes, the money is a big part of it, right? But the money is also continues to be a big part of it, right? And Michigan was the hometown place. Whoever Michigan's bringing in, whether it's one of the, those two candidates that I mentioned earlier or someone else, he's going to be in a much better spot. So, certainly there's teams that are meddling, but I have zero concerns about Bryce Underwood going anywhere at this point. And really most of the team, considering like right now it's pretty quiet. They've only lost one player and it was an expected loss. And Jaden Davis, the backup quarterback, obviously they're going to lose a few more, that's just how it goes. But at the same time, you would have thought there'd be an exodus, right? It's been embarrassing for the school and it's, continues to be headlines nationally. And certainly there's a lot of talent in Ann Arbor, even if a lot of it is unrealized. It was the youngest team in the Big Ten and, no one's bolted yet really, aside from Jaden Davis. So not really any concerns as far as Bryce Underwood in particular, but there seems to be a bit of a buy-in regardless of not even knowing who the head coach is at this point.
We all work in the headline and SEO world, and did you guys see the article out there? Michigan quarterback enters transfer portal. Yeah. I saw that and thought, you clever son of a gun, whoever you are. You know exactly what you're doing. Exactly what you're doing. Anyway, Trent, does Iowa know exactly what they are going to do at quarterback for next year? Can Gronowski come back, or is Gronowski done and Iowa's back on the portal market?
Yeah, he is out. I think it is going to be two guys that they got a year ago, though, in the portal, likely battling it out come springtime. Hank Brown, who missed a screen pass that would have beat Indiana back in the middle of the year when he came in for an injured Gronowski. He was the number 2 quarterback, and after that, he lost the backup role. Jeremy Hecklinski, who came in from Wake Forest, he actually was the backup for the last half of the year after that one. So those are the two guys. Hank Brown's more your prototypical pocket passer, 6'3". Hecklinski, he's a little guy. He's 5'10", at best, probably not even that, but he can move around. He can make some plays. So definitely two different styles of quarterbacks. And me personally, after what we saw, obviously running the football from Gronowski this year, I would like to see a guy with a little bit more athleticism, Iowa statute quarterbacks has not gone very well the last 6 or 7 years.
So you're telling me Iowa's not going to kick the tires on Aiden Childs or Dylan Raiola?
No, definitely not Raiola. I don't see like he doesn't seem like a Kirk Ferentz type of guy.
Because he throws?
No, because he's an a-hole.
I gotta say, I hate the idea that Iowa is not going to have like a 7-foot quarterback that runs like a 40-second 40.
Don't give him any ideas over there.
Yeah. I'm with Isaiah. That just feels very, very wrong in so many ways. Going 2 for 2 are the Hoosiers with transfer quarterbacks, and I mean, unless Alberto is really the guy. Look, there are going to be options. There's a former Indiana quarterback in the portal right now in Brendan Sorsby, who went to Cincinnati for 2 years and had a couple of really nice seasons, especially this last one. Where do you think Indiana looks? They've also been reportedly connected to Sam Levitt.
Yeah, it's a good question. And here's the good thing about Indiana is it has to be one of the most attractive quarterback markets in college football, right? Because of what Curtis Rourke did a year ago, who I believe if he didn't get hurt, he would have been in New York. He wouldn't have won the Heisman, but he at least would have been there. And now you have a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. I mean, it doesn't get any more popular than that. Don't count out Alberto Mendoza, the younger brother of Fernando. He's had plenty of playing experience. He's pretty talented, and you've learned from your brother in this system for a couple of years. So that is an option. But I think Indiana will go get one regardless. I love Sorsby. I think that dude is a baller. I don't know if that happens here, but Indiana's going to have their pick. Money's not a problem, and this is a place that quarterbacks want to be, but that's something for when the portal opens, Indiana's season is over, and then the Hoosiers go from there.
You know, Cignetti is a savvy guy. Is anyone going to push it past him to make Alberto look exactly like Fernando and send him to the NFL and then play Fernando and say he's Alberto?
I mean,
is that the next move?
I mean, their number's only one off, so you could get. I mean, just
no, that's what I'm saying. Craig,
just
I
never
think
take your helmet off. Just never take it off.
Yeah, just wear it wear it to press conferences and say,
everywhere.
Yeah, well, I just feel a lot more comfortable with the helmet on. Did I just solve Indiana's quarterback question, Craig?
Well, the younger brother's about 3 inches shorter, so it looked more like Diego Pavia.
Put some lifts in his.
Just wear heels. You're good.
Yeah. Get him like those. What do they call it? Lifts?
Yeah.
Get him some lifts in his shoes.
I heard one quarterback to keep an eye on is Drew Mestamaker from North Texas. I read a report that Indiana offered him $3.5 million, and we've kind of stalled now because he's deciding whether to go with his coach to Oklahoma State or go to Indiana, where you can be a superstar. And, the other one out there, I think Dylan Raiola, back up the Brinks truck wherever he goes, anywhere from Oregon to Penn State to Miami, there's going to be a high demand for his services this year as well.
Good luck. Anyone have a bold quarterback take to wrap up today's show?
What about Oregon, Spencer?
Yeah.
Well, the question is whether Dante Moore goes and whether or not they would find a transfer quarterback that would want to sit for a year like Dante Moore did, but sit behind Dante Moore. But if he leaves, I'd wonder what happens with Austin Novosad, because there have been just mild rumblings, I'd say, that he would go with Will Stein to Kentucky. But if Dante Moore left, well, then all of a sudden the Oregon quarterback job is open. And also, from what I've been told, the interest at this time is one way from Raiola to Oregon's camp, not the other way around. As in, that's someone Oregon could go get if they want, but they're not actively pursuing at this point in time. My preferred option for Oregon as neutral arbiter of all things college football, Dante Moore just comes back.
Yeah.
I can't see a guy out there that I'd rather have than him in the same system when you've promoted your offensive coordinator from within, and he's going to call plays as the full-time OC for the first time in his career in 10 seasons. So
do I get that option with Fernando Mendoza? Because I will take that if that's an option.
Absolutely.
No, you do
Other
not.
Than,
you do not get that option.
April.
I'm taking it off the board. It is not. It is absolutely positively not allowed. He'll be a New York Jet, and he will like it.
Oh.
No, he won't.
No, he will not. You really will not. We'll wrap the squad there for this week. Isaiah Hull, Locked On Michigan. Trent Condon, Locked On Hawkeyes. We had Roman Tomashoff from Locked On Huskies as well. Jacob Goins, Locked On Hoosiers. Craig Sheeman, Locked On Big Ten with that biased flag in the background. Goodness gracious. I'm Spencer McLaughlin from Locked On All Over the Place. See you next time, and until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.